Gordon, good morning, Gordon, St Andrews.
Good morning.
Good. Well, what would you like to ask Jackson Carlaw?
Hello, Jackson. I would like to ask why you're letting the nationalists off the hook with regards to the chronic mismanagement of our country. The mantra about no indirect too is fair enough, but we should be also focusing on the fact that there's so much benefit derived from being part of the United Kingdom. The fact that we receive £1,968 more on average for every man, woman and child.
Well, Gordon, I think you're singing Jackson Carlaw's song. What's your question?
Well, the question is, he's not exposing the fact that the nationalists are financially mismanaging the country in terms of we've got. I don't think it all boils down to money. It's how you use it, and we've spent our entire.
So, Jackson, you are failing to expose mismanagement.
Well, I'm sorry that Gordon would think that. I do think that as we move forward to the 2021 election, the focus will be very much then on the devolved agenda and the way in which the Scottish Government is managing Scotland's public services. I think we all know there is a major crisis in Scotland's health service at the moment. I'm actually surprised that Nicola Sturgeon has spent 3 of the last 4 days down in England participating in debates rather than getting on top of what is now an absolute scandal in the health service, with a 3rd child having died because of infections at the Queen Elizabeth University Hospital we were told about in the last week. So I do think there are issues there. We know we're falling down on the international education leagues. We know that the Scottish economy is beginning to underperform against the rest of the economy across the United Kingdom, and we have the highest taxes, which I think are going to prove to be a disincentive to new businesses setting up here, or for the very valuable types of people that we need, high-paid consultants in our NHS, where we have vacancies, some of which have been unfilled for years in Aberdeen. But a lot of that argument will be for 2021 on the issue of how the SNP have been managing Scotland's government. In this election, it's about who is going to form the government at Westminster, and there are 2 clear choices, Labour or the Conservative Party, and I am determined that we're going to do everything we can to stop Jeremy Corbyn, and to stop Jeremy Corbyn then facilitating Nicola Sturgeon's constitutional obsession, which is all being pursued at the expense of that domestic record of failure that I've just talked about. OK,
well, you did mention there the situation in Glasgow, particularly with the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. We do have somebody asking if you think there should be resignations. This is Elle Withers, in respect of the QE hospital.
I'm not someone who has regularly called for resignations. I think it's a very easy thing to do, but it doesn't necessarily resolve the underlying problem. But I think we do have 2 issues now. In respect of the Queen Elizabeth University Hospital, it seems that every fact that we are learning has not been volunteered, but has arisen as a result of either a whistleblower or an investigative journalist uncovering it. And so confidence in transparency and candour, both with the Health Board, but especially with the current Health Secretary, who doesn't seem to be able to convince people that she is on top of the actual crisis that we keep hearing more about from one day to the next, makes it difficult to see how parents or patients, particularly parents of young children who are being treated in the hospital and who have expressed a lack of confidence, it's difficult to see how the current people in charge can actually now offer that level of assurance.
Do you mean at a political level, or in terms of
both a political level and an administrative level? But my concern, I think, in the first instance, is to actually get on top of the issue, because I know sometimes you can call for a public inquiry, and a public inquiry can be a good thing, but it can then kick way into the long grass any resolution of the issue. Right now we know that there is an ongoing issue about which we are being drip-fed key information, and we need to know what's going on and get something in place to resolve that. And I don't think people at the moment are persuaded that's happening, or are persuaded that the government is giving the appropriate leadership, or that the First Minister personally is engaged with it, because she seems to have devolved everything to Jean Freeman, who at the moment is struggling to convince the public she's on top of the issue. OK, well, going back to putting the spotlight on your own record in 10 years of a Conservative government,